Hello. One day I'll work out how to do these intros properly and like get a good one, and maybe I'll even like find a voice that's not just slightly boring. Probably. Anyway, I don't really care. Sounds fine to me, and then when I listen back to it, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, Dark Souls 3. And I've just woken up from a long sleep. Or something, I don't know. In my fancy robe. So I don't actually know what this land is called. But we are in the Cemetery of Ash. Which sounds like we should be announcing a song at a death metal concert. Perhaps. Anyway, I'm offline, so anything on the ground is just developer messages. Because I can't be bothered to pay for PlayStation Plus, because I think it's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, there's that dude. And I completely failed. So this first area, as with most games, this is meant to teach you how to fight. But because it's Dark Souls and I'm kind of a coward when it comes to going around corners, I didn't go down there. So I started as a sorcerer, as if you watched my creation video you saw, and it takes me a little while to realise that I do have a staff also, because you can see there on the top of my D-pad thing it's got the soul arrow, but I'm holding a sword so it's kind of useless. But I eventually work it out. As in the last one, I'm doing the commentary after assembling this in Share Factory, so try not to suck as bad as I do with a shield. I'm impatient, which is my problem. Like, I'll just mash the attack button, and then Dark Souls, you pay the price horribly. So this dude here is easy to take out because archers are just kind of terrible. So there's some nice scenery. We're up in the mountains. But we're not going to go that way yet because there's more down here. Kind of. So I didn't see the dude on the right because I was paying too much attention to that guy and got murdered. And those two are the most basic enemies you can get in the game, and two of them swiftly dead. I think the loading screens were a little bit long. But they were in the last two as well, so I don't know, it just needs to be a Dark Souls thing. So back in the Cemetery of Ash again, because I died like a nanny. I don't know why I chose to say nanny there. I was going to say I have no idea. I'm going to stick with it though. It's my thing now. So that's how you're meant to kill that guy, effectively. And then I tried to do it for this guy, and he kind of turns too fast. So I'm just gonna try it the other way, and then just stab him anyway. Because I'm still, the last Dark Souls thing I remember is Dark Souls 2, playing it as a sorcerer and getting up to the point where I was just like one-shotting everybody from a distance. So having to like stab him 3 times like that feels long-winded to me. Because as I said in the other video, playing as a sorcerer, even on this point, like if you just press right on the D-pad, you will get the staff. Retrieved all of my 80 souls, which is pointless. Yeah, if you get the staff, you can 2-shot these guys effectively. The little archer guy is 1-shot. Disappointed that didn't trigger the backstab. But the angle, you have to seem to be quite precise on that angle, and I've never managed to get it quite how I wanted to. So I didn't die horribly to these two there, and got a backstab again. I'm always pleased when that happens. Not really sure why. Decided to actually face up to being a coward and go down. And it's Dark Souls' fault that I'm afraid of Dark Souls, because too many times in especially the first game, is me walking around, and then just out of nowhere, death. So I can see that big thing on the right there, the big glowy crystally thing. It's moving slightly, which means that's an enemy, which means I'm not going to get anywhere near it, because I'm assuming you're meant to level up a bit and go back, because this has the same fast travel system that Dark Souls 2 has. We're just wading through the water because that's not boring at all. It seems a bit redundant to put it in this bit, like, why is it there? I don't know. And then, because of my newfound courage, back to that first bit I refused to go down. Which has either, I can't remember, one enemy or no enemies. Yeah, no, there's nobody down there, and you just get a soul. And I can't remember if that's the one that's worth 2,000 or not, but one of the ones that I redeem later on is worth 2,000 souls, which is reasonable. So this is me trying to... I can't remember if I was trying to work out how to level up again, because I forgot that it was at the bonfires, which is silly. But you can see there, which I don't even think I noticed yet, that I have the staff equipped at the top as well. But in Dark Souls 3, the biggest change seems to be that that blue Estus flask now restores magic. Because before, in the 2, I think magic just cost stamina to cast, and you just had a certain number of casts. And now you get a second Estus one that refills that middle blue bar at the top. The red one is your health, obviously. The blue one is your, I'm going to call it mana, because I can't remember what they call it, FP, but I don't know what that stands for. And the bottom one is obviously your stamina. And this is bonfire number 2, which seems very close. So I'm used to Dark Souls 1 where you had to like grind away for quite some time to get to the next bonfire, and they felt like achievements. And I think by the end of this video I think I've discovered 6. But you can't level up at that one, you can do absolutely nothing. It just means that when you die, you start 5 minutes ahead of where you were. So yay for that. More scenery. Art Mountain's fantastic. What an enormous castle. So yeah, at some point I guess we're going to go back there and explore said castle. And onwards we go. So I found the staff now, and you can see like it nearly kills these guys straight away. When you get to the shrine eventually, if you were to find somewhere to reinforce that, even I think if you went up only 1, you'd get it strong enough to just one-shot these guys. I didn't want to waste my magic, my MP, whatever it's called, the mana. Didn't want to waste the blue stuff, so I decided these guys are easy to kill, so... It's a shame they're not worth more swords. Swords? Souls. That's because I'm trying to like edit my YouTube videos on my laptop at the same time as commentating on this one. So yeah, I'm kind of distracted. Not really a fan of these mountain roads. I feel like I'm going to drop off, but it's not even a road, it's a path. Anyway, stab that dude. I feel a bit sorry for the archers in this because like, they're undead. And I'm going to kill them really quick anyway. Don't know where he came from, but yeah. So listening is always useful, because they make a lot of noise for dead people. Or undead people, hollow people, whatever they're called. So, as soon as I saw that guy, straight away, that guy's going to be a boss. Thing is, he has a massive weapon, which means, yeah, he's going to try and stab me with it. So there is nothing over there, and there's, from what I gather, there's nothing in any of this bit except this dude, and I can't remember his name, and I'm not going to guess it because it's weird. So you pull the sword out, which just disappears. And he comes to life. And if you saw the regular little tentacle things on his back, what happens when you get him down to half health makes a bit more sense. Because it did just kind of come out of nowhere. And I'm impressed I managed to dodge almost all of his attacks, considering I'm kind of rusty at Dark Souls. This is the advantage, I think, of the sorcerer. Like, this is kind of like showcases that. Apart from me managing to not dodge that one, I think I miss another one as well when I'm trying to heal. Unless that was that one. So yeah, he does the classic double attack, which you just roll twice and you're easily out of the way of. So if I remember correctly, I try to heal, I think, on the next bit. Yeah, I ran away. And just in time. And had he actually lined that one up properly, I'm pretty sure I'd be dead. What is nice is the Estus Flask, the little icon changes the more you drink, it goes down, which is quite cool. But the tentacles on his back I mentioned, now this happens to him. And it looks, I don't know, similar to like their facial hair graphics. There's just something not quite right about them. Like, they just stick out too much, I think. Because everything else in the world has quite a nice aesthetic to it, and it looks almost soft. These, they just look like too shiny, and they look kind of weird. I don't like it. And because of like almost the lack of story in Dark Souls, there's no real reason for that happening to him that I've discovered anyway. Apparently he was the Heir of Fire, and I don't know what that means. And it says Ember Restored. I also don't know what that means. But now my little robe is like on fire, and my little icon in the top left is now on fire. And someone at the Firelink shrine, spoiler alert, which you find later on, calls you like something like the Unkindled One. So I'm not entirely sure what is going on. And knowing Dark Souls, it's probably not going to explain it to me. So essentially, this next bit I recorded my gameplay in 15-minute chunks and missed a bit of me walking up here, but you can't really. There is no other way to go. And there's a few enemies up here to kill. There's like a dog thing off to the right, and it's just sort of guarding a soul. This is, I don't know why I was trying to find the level up bit, because again, I thought it was at the bonfires, and because I found those other two and they're just useless, I assumed maybe they'd changed it, because I haven't read anything about this game besides it being Dark Souls and the Estus Flask thing, the second one. But everything appears to be the same, pretty much. The sorcerer clothes are still basically useless. They just make you really light. I don't even, at this point, looking back, I don't even know what I'm doing, like what I'm looking for. That young dragon ring, I guess the sorcerer starts with that, because it affects magic. And we are at Firelink Shrine. And I think these are just the same characters that were at the shrine in number 2.
A pleasure to make thine acquaintance, Ashen One.
Although I might be recognising her more from Bloodborne, with a different voice. I could be completely wrong, but the blacksmith at the end and the dude sat really depressed up on the stairs is definitely in the last one. And I'm pretty sure in Dark Souls 2 that guy, you joined some sort of, whatever they're called, guild, I don't know, I want to call them guilds. He joined a guild, but I haven't found any in 3 yet. She sells relatively useful stuff if you're like a warrior, I guess, but for me, she sells more spells. But I don't know quite how that's going to affect it, because Dark Souls 2, if you bought a second copy of, say, Soul Arrow, I would then get double the number of casts, but I don't know what having 2 copies in. So I reached the commentary limit there, and I was saying stuff about soul arrows and castings and stuff, so I'm not quite sure what having 2 of those does, but I imagine at some point I will find out. So this lady levels you up. And as a sorcerer, like, some of these stats are kind of useless to me. So I need things like... Figure is just, I get for every class. But I need stuff like dexterity, because that is spellcasting time, and intelligence is spell potency, and so is faith. Faith is more for healing spells though, so intelligence and dexterity are my focuses. Because if you can get dexterity high enough, you can get a hell of a lot of spells off before something gets near you. And it kind of, again, like Dark Souls 2, it kind of breaks the game a little. Like that last boss, I think if I was to go in there with a sword and shield, I would probably have died a couple of times. Partly because I'm not that great with it, but having the spells just makes it so much easier. But I think a lot of people play Dark Souls for that challenge, and my way would be seen as a bit of a shortcut, maybe even cheating. Even though that's not true, but yeah, whatever. So you start off with like a couple of these odd little one-use things, and I think in the other ones I didn't even use them, but just trying to grab some more souls, and you get to watch me do 5 of these in a row because I didn't do it the short way, which I think is in the inventory. You can just consume like 5 in one go. I've decided to go the long way, the artistic route, perhaps.
I should produce the mark of ash to Lothric.
I don't know if we're in a bit of Lothric now. That was kind of a hiccup. This is probably like everything you shouldn't do in commentary, but I don't really care. Just gonna bump that dexterity a little bit more, which has given me a 3rd attunement slot. And in the next video I will have a 3rd spell, and I will discover what that does. But currently I do not know. So you can speak to this depressing guy again. Ooh, unkindled. I'm not sure what difference that is to hollow, but we're not fit to lick their boots. You get a pathetic gesture off him. If you want one of those, I'm not sure why you would, because it's sad, really. That's all his dialogue at the moment, I think. So he does that, she levels you up. This lady sells you stuff, and then Andre is back.
Well,
from the first one? Pretty sure he was in the first one. Don't know if he was in the second one though.
Smith, you're in search of the toilsome journey, I'd wager. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith.
Unfortunately, he currently can't do anything with my stuff, and I don't have enough to do the shield, so he is slightly useless to me now.
I don't want to see my work squandered.
I'm sure that will change at some point. So that big sword that you pulled out of the chest of whatever that guy's name was lights that bonfire, which is like the 5th, the 6th one. Yeah, and then you can travel onwards and do, I think the bone shards make things more difficult if I remember correctly. I never really bothered doing that too much in the last one. So yeah, you see I've got the 3rd slot, but it also gives you like the heavy soul arrow as well, so you get 2 You get a reasonable spell, and then Heavy Soul Arrow is quite a good one. And then yeah, you can travel to the High Wall of Lothric, which I will do momentarily because I go for an explore around here and could find nothing at all, so I'm just going to skip this and fade back. So, that was my skip and fade, because there's a minute of me just running around finding nothing. We're travelling to the High Wall of Lothric. And then another tedious loading screen. Again, these are the only bits that give you any real story, and it's all like useless story. And then just tips as to what the spells actually do. And of course the difference between spells and miracles and blah 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 blah. So yeah, this is the first proper area. And every door in what I'm now going to call Lothric seems to just be really difficult to open. So there we are. We're on the high wall. And yet another bonfire. There's literally one at the top of the stairs and now at the bottom as well. Isn't this fun? Not really sure why they've put so many in so close to each other. But one thing I feel like I will point out is where Dark Souls sort of aesthetic is like there was all these great kingdoms and stuff, and you're sort of in the after the fallout of them collapsing. This one feels like that even more so, because you get like these pathetic guys and I'm gonna murder all of them because I'm that kind of guy, and I completely pressed the wrong button there because I'm a genius and clearly very good at Dark Souls. There's loads of them as well. Not really sure why, because if you leave most of them, they don't attack you, they just kind of sit there. There's the odd one or two, like, they fight back, but unless you antagonise, they don't actually do anything. That guy up there will. There's like 3 in this area that do, the rest are all just static. But in the background there, you can kind of see it there, is a dead dragon, which I'm guessing is dead. Knowing Dark Souls, at some point it's going to not be dead, because it's just that kind of fun game. See, I kind of failed there, because again, I am too impatient with my shield. I don't even know why I'm killing these guys, really. I just but yeah, there, that's the head of the dragon. You can kind of see his arm. I'm not really sure. Like, it looks very dead, but it's probably not going to be. And at some point, I'm probably not going to look forward to fighting that at all, because that big red dragon in 2 was a pain in the ass for quite a long section of the game. So again, that's classic Dark Souls. Some guy hiding behind a box, and I don't know. I'm not even trying a tactic there. I'm just mashing away. And then I remembered I was a sorcerer and could just shoot him. Yeah, break some stuff. There's a couple of bits to find in here, but nothing fantastic. I'm not going to go down there yet, that'll be the next video. So yeah, just having a look around, and then it was here that I actually noticed the big hand and wing of the dragon there. So you can see it looks kind of like the red one from Dark Souls 2 to me, and it also looks thoroughly dead, which I've mentioned several times, but still, I don't think it's just there to lend an air of dead shit. Anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.